And our next guest fell down and almost lost his will to go on, but he always managed to find the light and keep moving forward with the help of an unlikely friend.
It's a story of lost and found that started 3 decades ago. Jackie Wallace was on top of the world as an NFL cornerback playing for the Colts, the Rams, and the Vikings, even playing in 2 Super Bowls. But soon his life took a series of unexpected turns. 5 years after starting in the NFL, he was cut from the Rams and was dealt another blow when his mother passed away just a year later. Jackie spiraled into deep depression and soon found himself unable to escape the grip of drugs and alcohol. Everything changed in 1990 when photojournalist Ted Jackson stumbled upon an encampment of homeless people under an expressway in New Orleans. Ted snapped a picture of Jackie lying on top of a rusty box spring, a torn-up cardboard box, and wrapped in plastic to keep him warm. Jackie told Ted, "You ought to do a story on me." And he did. Ted's picture and Jackie's story struck a nerve with readers, and the outpouring of support from the community helped Jackie enter a rehab program, a true Hail Mary from an unexpected place. Jackie got his life back on track, and over the next 16 years, he and Ted stayed in touch. But like so many who've battled addiction, Jackie suffered multiple relapses and eventually disappeared. Ted, desperate to find Jackie, wrote another piece, The Search for Jackie Wallace, which quickly became one of NOLA.com's most read stories. Ted and Jackie were reunited 6 weeks after the article went viral, and Jackie is once again setting the stage for a personal comeback and ready to show the world he can tackle anything life throws his direction.
Please welcome Ted Jackson and Jackie Wallace. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us. Jackie, your story I felt was a perfect fit for this show because you don't always get it right the first time. Finding the light and finding your way forward. It's a roller coaster, and that's what it's been like for you, right?
Yes, it has. Yes, it really has.
And Ted, for you, being someone to help Jackie, I mean, we all need somebody to bet on us, someone to believe. And it's not always a family member. It comes in these unlikely places, as was the case with you.
Yeah, when I walked up on Jackie under that bridge that day, it was obviously looking back on that a moment planned by God that we made that connection. He asked me, you ought to do a story about me, and thank goodness that I paid attention to that day, and it's just been an amazing journey ever since. 30 years ago now.
And you make a great point, Jackie. You paid attention. Ted, how did it feel to have someone pay attention and hear you, and even with the mistakes made, still believe you could get it right? Explain to me how that feels.
Well, it feels wonderful. Let me say this first. That last piece that you just showed, I've had 2 failed marriages, and it wasn't the young lady's fault. It was basically my fault. But to have a story like what you just showed before we got on air, had tears in my eyes.
Aww.
And so I want to commend you on that. That was wonderful. Wonderful.
Oh, well,
okay?
thank you. I did not expect that. This is a live show, and I did not expect that because I'm reading your story, and I commend you for continuing to try. So much when we talk about addiction or when people, their life doesn't turn out exactly as they thought it would, to get back up from expectation is sometimes harder, I'm sure, than to beating an addiction. What keeps you getting back up? What keeps you trying to win?
Really, 3 letters. G-O-D, God Almighty. All right? I can understand by Dwayne Dawes saying how God has helped him. And then you see the last piece. This is still God's planet, and God is still running everything on. That's including my life right now.
Well, first of all, I'm happy you watched the whole show. I'm impressed, but you've watched the whole daggone show. But Ted, what is your advice again for those of us out there who may be in a good place, but don't turn to the person to the right and to the left and see someone who needs us. What's the reminder?
But it's really important to listen to each other, and I think these days that's more important than ever. Is that a lot of people are wanting to scream and shout their opinions, and they're not willing to listen to the other guy. And for Jackie, it's been a real struggle through his life, and one blow after the other, some self-inflicted, some not.
Yeah.
But to be able to recount the story from the Bible again, going back to Genesis of am I my brother's keeper? And I think that was meant originally as an escape hatch. But the answer to that is supposed to be yes, that we are our brother's keeper, and that we want to be able to help each other in any way that we can.
Well, I am rooting for you, Jackie. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. Ted, thank you for offering an incredible friendship and reminding us the importance of helping